Hello there, and welcome to the program Everything Catholic. It is that program where we discuss anything and everything as long as it is Catholic. Previously, that is last week, we have you with us on the Sacrament of the Holy Eucharist, particularly the first part of it that deals with trying to understand what the sacrament is, and of course, the centrality of that sacrament in the life of the Church. I am always your brother and uncle man and priest, Reverend Father Boniface Nebo, and as usual with my brother,
Father Silvanus. Amen. Welcome to the program today.
Thank you for always being there with us. Today we are going to take on the second part of this sacrament, that is the sacrament of the Holy Eucharist. We have with us on set to take up these a very fine priest of the Catholic Archdiocese of Abuja by name Reverend Father Damian Akut. Father Damian is the priest in charge of St. Joseph's Catholic Church, Dakibiu. Father, we're glad to have you.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for being with us.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Now to begin with, I want to ask, and of course, Father will journey with us, beginning with this first concern on who qualifies to receive the sacrament of the Holy Eucharist. Who can receive this sacrament?
According to the law of the Church, anyone baptized in the Catholic faith is eligible and can receive the sacrament illicitly. He can receive,
Illicitly, okay, fine, yes.
Illicitly, he or she can receive the sacrament by the virtue of the fact that he has been received the sacrament of baptism. So that person is already free and can receive it.
Okay, when you say anyone who has been baptized in the church qualifies to receive the sacrament, maybe you may want to expand on this to clarify it better. You know, we have infants baptized, or is there a particular age that one needs to attain before being welcomed into the fold of those who receive, or who qualifies to receive this sacrament?
Okay, thank you very much. According to the Council of Trent, that any child that has attained the age of reason, that is anyone who have sufficient knowledge, who can differentiate between Holy Eucharist and the normal food, then that person can receive the sacrament of Holy Eucharist.
Okay, thank you. Father, you may want to take up something.
You know, wisdom does not come necessarily by
age. Yeah.
But when the church talks about the use of reason, I believe that there's a particular age limit that the church is looking at. What would be that age of reason?
Yes.
From about what age?
The law says at about 7 years.
Okay.
Yes, at about 7 years, the person can receive the sacrament, especially when he has attained that age of reason, when he or she can differentiate between the Holy Eucharist as a spiritual meal and the physical meal. And that person can receive the Holy Eucharist.
Now, the Catechism talks about or teaches that the Holy Eucharist is a reenactment of the sacrifice of the cross.
Yes.
How is this so?
The sacrament is a reenaction of the Holy Eucharist. Now, on the cross, Christ offered himself for our salvation. Now, on the cross, he gave himself as a sacrifice for the salvation of souls. Now, the Holy Eucharist itself, that we celebrate every day, we celebrate it to remember that incident that occurred over 2,000 years ago, that Christ offered himself on the cross for our salvation. So the Holy Eucharist is both a blessing, a memorial, and a sacrament. It's also a sacrifice. So one is the bloody, one is unbloody. The one Christ offered himself on the cross is the bloody sacrifice. And the one that we celebrate every day is the unbloody form of the Mass.
Okay, thank you very much, Father. Just to pick up something from there. Now, for all who receive, or for those who qualify to receive the sacrament of the Holy Eucharist, how are they to prepare to receive the sacrament of the Eucharist?
Firstly, whosoever wants to receive sacrament must firstly be in the state of grace. What do I mean?
Okay.
The person must reconcile with God through the sacrament of penance.
Okay.
And so after that, he or she must approach the minister, reverently approach the minister, and the minister will give you the communion, either through the tongue or through the hand.
Okay.
And you go back to wherever your seat for a private prayer.
Okay, and meditations and reflection
Yes.
on he that have been received.
Yes.
Now, while they were talking, you made mention of either through the tongue or through the hand. And now that brings me to, it pops up in me the need for you to further clarify that, in our time, the Church emphasizes reception of the Holy Eucharist on the palm.
Right now.
Right now.
Because of the
COVID issues and the pandemic and the need to, ensure, the safety of all. Now, what is your word to all Catholics who are concerned on the need to adhere to this instruction, and particularly to those who, for personal piety or some personal concerns, are insisting on reception on the tongue?
Okay.
But taking note of the fact that, is any of this wrong spiritually?
Let me take it back to history.
Interesting.
In the first 12 centuries, Catholics or the faithful, all of them, they are called to receive the sacrament through the tongue.
Okay.
Through the tongue. Why? They said that they are not worthy to receive Christ through the hand.
Okay.
Yes, they are not worthy to receive Christ through the hand. And now, as time goes on, there are persons that, because of health reasons or health challenge, they can't receive the communion through the tongue. And so the church gives room for through the palm. Now, during the advent of Second Vatican Council, there is a provision for either hand or tongue that is made it optional for health reasons. Presently, because of what is happening globally, the pandemic that has ravaged the entire world and is still ravaging the entire world, the church has come out with a law that, for the sake of pastoral reasons, all Catholics are encouraged to receive the Holy Eucharist through the power.
Okay. Okay.
When you say for the first 12 centuries, communion was given on the tongue, was that how it was from the beginning? If for the first 12 centuries, was that how it was from the beginning? Because if we take a look at scriptures where it started, it was not on the tongue. When Jesus broke bread, he gave it to the disciples, and they passed to each other. It wasn't on the tongue. I think they got to a point where we started receiving communion as it is now. Even the writings of St. Paul, especially in 1 Corinthians chapter 11, where he addressed the issue of the communal breaking of bread, the meal. I don't think that it was on the tongue, like one person giving on the tongue as we have it now. So, at what point did we start having communion on the tongue? Because I personally think that is a matter of history here. So when we are talking about the first 12 centuries, and then you made mention of some church councils where options were given, like the Second Vatican Council option for the hand and for the tongue. I think it is important that we make this clarification very clearly.
Okay. Now, communion, since time immemorial, as I said, has been like that. Now, when Christ gave the apostle his body. In Matthew's Gospel, chapter 26, says, take and eat. Take and drink. This is my body and this is my blood.
Yeah.
Now, after that, even in the Acts of the Apostles, chapter 4, we are told that there was this common meal, agape, which they share among believers.
Okay.
They share among themselves. Now, the church gradually, from one epoch to another, has moved due to one reason or another, maybe for pastoral reasons. They have moved from receiving it at the hand, and it moved to the tongue. Because when you receive the communion at the tongue, or on the tongue, you are receiving Christ in you. You know, there's this statement that this adage that says, you will become what you eat.
And you consume,
so when you receive Christ, you are united with him. And so, since the church, especially when the Council of Trent came in, it says that the communion should be on the tongue, the emphasis on the tongue, so that you receive it directly, so that for the sake of abuse, so that you don't abuse it.
Okay, that's another interesting point.
Yes,
anyway.
so that you don't abuse it, because some people don't know how to receive it. In fact, the canon law says that every parish priest should teach her members the right way to receive communion by the hand. Now that we have changed, because some people just receive it and you just clean their hands. You forget that there are some particles that are still on the palm. So you must teach your members how to receive it. You have to, in order to abuse the sacred species. And so it's very important that we do that. Till the Second Vatican Council made it optional.
Okay.
Whether tongue or
as necessity provides.
Yes.
Okay.
Let me move us away from this a little bit to something also still of pastoral concern, especially for many Catholics. The ordinary minister of the Sacrament of the Holy Eucharist, we know is the priest.
Yes.
And when we say priest, I mean priest, bishops.
Yeah.
As far as you are above the order of the diaconate. But at certain times, we see this happening a lot in the church. We see deacons, we see seminarians, and sometimes even lay persons celebrating communion services. And some persons are not comfortable with this. Even in the distribution of communion, some persons are not comfortable with receiving communion from someone who is not a priest. So why is it that people who are not ordained priests are allowed to handle the Eucharist?
That's a very interesting question Father has asked there. But just for the moment, we're going to hang in there while we proceed on a very, very short break. Remain with us. It is still Everything Catholic.
Everything Catholic, a program that discusses anything and everything about the Catholic Church. Faith, doctrines, morals, canon law, church governance, papal documents, you name it. As long as it is Catholic, it shall be discussed. Join Father Ahmed Silvanus and Father Nebo Boniface, two priests passionate about teaching the true faith of the Catholic Church, as their hosts bishops, priests, religious and distinguished laymen and women, to discuss and simplify the wealth of the Church's teachings. Everything Catholic, showing on Catholic television, CTV. Everything Catholic, teaching the faith.
Welcome back. It is still the program Everything Catholic. Before we proceeded on that break, Father Silvanus had asked a question concerning the use and need, or the necessity rather, of the extraordinary ministers of the Holy Eucharist. Yeah. That is, why are people who are not priests or ordained ministers allowed to distribute Holy Communion in the church? Father, you may pick it up from there.
Okay.
Or even celebrate communion services.
Or communion services, exactly.
By law, they are not allowed because they are not priests. It's only priests who are ordained that are allowed to celebrate the Eucharist and also to celebrate the Mass. Now, those who are not the priests, they are not ordinary ministers, they are extraordinary ministers. Okay. Because they only help the priest when the priest, number one, when maybe it's too feeble, sick, when it's of age, advanced of age, for pastoral reasons too. For the sake of the large number of persons, Catholics, who are coming for communion. And so, because of that reason, the extraordinary ministers of the Holy Eucharist are brought into the church. But firstly, they must do it with the mind of the church. they must do it according to the mind of the church, not according to their own dictate. So they must do what the church says by doing and distributing the communion to people. And also, they can also take it for the sick, those who are in the hospital, those at home, who cannot come for Mass and receive sacrament. So they are mandated to go out and do it under the provisions of the law.
So lay extraordinary ministers in parishes, for example, can take communion to the sick in their homes.
Yes.
But our people will not agree.
Yes, they will not agree.
So that's why it's important that
we clarify this.
Yes.
With an opportunity like this, we can shed more light on this kind of thing.
The Episcopal Conference had made it clear that for the sake of pastoral reasons, the prince may not be able to reach out to all those who are sick at home, who are sick in the hospital, who cannot come out.
Yeah.
So that is why they made those lay people as extraordinary ministers.
Okay.
So they can reach out to those who cannot come for Mass and receive the sacrament.
A very quick follow-up on that.
Yes.
Is there some special training discipline
Very good.
or the parish
You
priest
pick anybody and
picks people and then makes them extraordinary ministers?
Yes. Thank you very much for that question. There's always a special training. In fact, there is a ban of that needs to be called in the church.
Okay.
That these persons are selected to be trained for this ministry.
That careful consideration of the particular persons.
And so the church now send them out for a training where they'll be trained on how to distribute communion and how to reverence the Holy Eucharist.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Okay. Now, Father, still on the reception of the Holy Eucharist. You know, a friend of mine once made a joke. He said, Father, only you go just did at your altar. Prepare the meal, prepare the Eucharist. You consume both species. You finish and drink the blood of Jesus. You eat the body of Jesus. And you bring only the body to us. I think in his word, he said, no, that is not good. We long for the blood too. Though I took my time to clarify, but I want to leave it up to you for this session. Why is very often the Holy Eucharist not administered under both sacred species, the body and the blood, to the faithful? But you see the priest or even celebrating priest partake in both species often. Yes.
The reason is this. There is a doctrine of the church called the doctrine of concomitants.
Okay.
It states that the body of Christ contains the blood. Good. And the blood contains the body. That each of them has the real presence of God.
Whole and entire.
Yeah, whole and entire.
Beautiful.
So when you receive the body, you are invariably receiving the body and the blood. If you receive the blood, you're also receiving the body and the blood. And so the church also look at the fact that the large crowd of persons coming for communion, if you are to give the communion to them, body and blood, maybe by intention or giving body and giving the blood to them, may take time. And so for pastoral reasons also, which is the second reason.
Exactly.
That is why if you receive the body, you're also receiving the blood. When you receive the blood, you're also receiving the body.
Okay, interesting. You see, like I told us before, or at the beginning of this session with Father Damian, most of our questions today are revolving around reception and mode of reception. And St. Thomas Aquinas has something to say here. He said, it is devotion, not frequency, that makes the Blessed Eucharist effective in our lives as Christians.
Powerful statement.
So, it is permissible to receive the Holy Eucharist twice or more daily, should one find himself or herself at Holy Mass at different times. Now, what will you say on this? For people who feel, for whatever reason, that they can't receive the Holy Eucharist more than once a day.
Okay. According to the 1983 Code of Canon Law, it states that any Catholic who wish to receive sacrament of Holy Eucharist more than once daily can receive it. But there's a clause there. And what is the clause? That person must have attended a Mass. In other words, you don't just receive first Mass and maybe there's a priest coming to your house to minister communion to your father, you want to receive. No. If you are attending 2 Masses, then you can receive communion in those 2 Masses. You are attending 10 Masses in a day, you can receive communion in that.
Partake. Exactly.
You must participate in that Mass fully before you can receive Holy Communion. Yeah. But if you don't participate in the Mass, you are not permitted by law to receive the communion.
Beautiful.
There is something that someone used to do, one man in one of the parishes I worked. I'd like to say something on that. I'd like you to say something on that. I noticed this thing on 2 occasions.
Okay.
I noticed that he will attend one mass and I see him in the next mass. So one day I asked him, why do you attend 2 masses, 2 concurrent masses? He said, Father, the thing is that the first mass I came late. So he will now join the second mass up to the point where he started the first mass.
And leave.
And when he gets to that point, he will now leave. He has completed the mass. Half from here, half from here. So for one full mass. What do you have to say about that?
The mass begins with the sign of the cross and ends with the sign of the cross.
Interesting.
And so when you attend the mass halfway and you decide to end the mass and begin the next mass halfway, it is like dividing the mass. You have to, either you attend, if you are late for the first mass and you attend the mass and end, you are called to begin the next mass and complete it. You can't attend half mass and there's no half measure. It is full. So you must attend the mass and complete it.
And in full?
In full.
Okay.
Yes.
I have one last question to ask.
Yes.
Okay.
Should Catholics receive communion, quote unquote, when they attend church services in other ecclesial bodies?
Thank you very much for that question.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
We know that for us,
Yes.
we don't allow people who come to the church to just receive communion.
Yeah.
But for many of these other churches, it doesn't matter. So when the Catholic find himself in another church, maybe to attend the function or something, and then they are doing communion service, should Catholics receive communion?
According to our church doctrine, a baptized Catholic is not supposed to receive their own communion in their church. The reason being that we are not in full communion with them. We don't share the same belief and the same doctrine.
About the Eucharist.
About the Eucharist.
Yes, about the Eucharist. Very important. About the Eucharist. So you can't partake of what you don't believe in. And so since you don't share the same faith and the same doctrine, we are not mandated to receive.
What's the basic difference in what we believe and what they believe?
The real presence. That is the difference.
Okay.
In the Catholic Church, we believe that the specie of the bread and wine at the words of consecration by an ordained Catholic priest is true, real, and substantially the real body and blood of Christ. Okay. And so that is the real presence of Christ, which we call the real presence. So in the other denomination, they don't believe in the real presence as we Catholics do. Okay. And that is why we can't partake of their own communion in their church.
Okay, can we also hold on to this reason?
Okay.
As to the reason why we know we don't administer the sacred body to them when they come to our church as well.
Yes.
Because they do not hold the belief in the real, whole, and entire presence of the Lord in the sacred spaces.
It's the same thing. If you come to our church, in fact, in my church, if I ask the brother of Christ,
thank you very sincerely. It's been a very awesome experience in this session with Reverend Father Damian Akut, who has been journeying with us and expanding our understanding of the Holy Eucharist. Father, thank you sincerely. Our dear viewers, we thank you for always being there with us on this program, Everything Catholic. We encourage you to always follow us also on our social media outlets. Subscribe, share, and continue to be with us in the propagation and teaching of the Catholic faith, whole and entire. It's a brother and priest, Reverend Father Boniface Label, signing out. God bless you.
And if you have benefited from this program, if it has helped your faith, you may wish to also extend same to others. Help in promoting this program by sponsoring this program to continue to be on air. You can reach us through any of our contacts as displayed on your screen, and may God bless you as you do so. Once again, Father, thank you for coming. To you, our viewers, God bless you.